Hey there, welcome back to Manotick StringWorks. Glad to have you here. So please remember to like and subscribe for more video content. Alright, so we're back with this red Telecaster parts build, and there's not much left to do. Do have to get the knobs on, and obviously we have to string it up, and I have to put in a new nut. And the owner has supplied this nut right here from Allparts. It's a bone nut. Alright, so let's do that next. Alright, so we're going to install a new nut here on this neck, which never had one in the first place, and I'm pretty sure this is a 1/8, yeah, a 1/8 slot. So this is the Allparts slotted bone nut. There's the code. It's got some slots pre-done. They're very small. And there is a radius on there. Let's see if it matches our neck. It's pretty close. Yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, so let's have a look at this thing. So there is a high and a low side when you look at it. There's the low side, there's the high side. So the high side's going to be for the 6th string. Oh, look at that. Now what I like to do is just put the nut in place, eyeball the string spacing, push it in there good and tight, and then string it up. Then we'll see before we glue anything down. And normally I just put a little dab of CA glue, nothing much. You can use woodworking glue too, doesn't matter. So let's string this up and see how it sits. Now the owner of the guitar wants to string it up with 11 to 49s. So that's a pretty thick gauge string these days. I've really been putting 9s on almost everything, especially everything Fender. So that's going to pretty much guarantee that these nut slots are not going to be wide enough, especially for the 6th string. Alright, now let's get started. Well, if you've watched my channel before, you know how I like to, on a Tele or a Strat, anything that has through body stringing, I like to set it up in my bench vise, a universal bench vise, and then it just makes it easier to run the strings through the back of the guitar. I just find that so easy to string up the guitar that way. And now all the strings just sort of lay over the back of my bench. Easy to get at and not tangled. Alright, let's string it up. So with these vintage split posts, I like to line up the split in the post parallel to the nut. So it creates a 90 when the string comes around. So it'll just take a few seconds to put them all about 90 degrees, or parallel I should say, to the nut. And then what I'm going to do to make things easier to use like a string winder is I'm just going to make sure that the tuning pegs are up and down like that, so that the string winder doesn't hit the next one in line as you're trying to wind it. That's just for the initial stringing. Okay, so let's start with the 6th string, the E. Yeah, that slot is going to be it's not even able to sit in there and hold it. Let me try the first string. Okay, that'll stay there. Second string. Yeah. Third string. Yeah, that's pretty good. Fourth string. It's getting a little shallow. And definitely the fifth and sixth strings need to be done. So let's work on that nut first. Alright, so I use these Hosco nut files. I like these. They're double-sided. So the biggest size is 46, not 49, but that's fine. So I'm just going to run this through. That's a bad noise. Run this through about a dozen times. And then we'll just test the string in it. So if you run the string across the nut face, the top, and if it moves around, it's not deep enough. So we're going to go a little deeper. Again, check 46. That's how you know you're working with a bone nut. That awful sound. Okay, that's better. So that, I'm going to leave it like that. Alright, so I've adjusted the 4th, 5th, and 6th string nut slots, so everything should stay in. So now these are vintage tuners, so you drop the string into the hole in the top and wrap it around, and it ties up nice. So I'm going to start with a couple of tuners past the hole, right about there. Drop it in. Then we're gonna, of course, we want to wind it around, right? Bend it down a bit. Get it going. Just turn. So I usually like the manual string winder for the first time around. Make sure things go nice and slow and smoothly. There we go. It's pretty good. Yeah, that nut slot is going to have to be cut deeper after. Okay, that's good. Let's move along. Alright, so that's the strings strung up. And they're looking nice. There is a string tree. It's a little round style one here that I'm going to put in somewhere around here at some point. Looks good. Now there's going to be a lot of nut work required. I think you can see how high that is. Oddly enough, the first string is almost okay. It's really the rest of them. So we're going to have to carve out these nut slots a little more. And then I'm sure you can see the break angle. That's why these two, the first and second strings, need a string tree. So from parts to a guitar. So that's all the hard work done, getting it all assembled, put together. And now it's a little more of the finicky fine-tuning work. So I'm going to have to do a little more preemptive work on the nut before we start looking at the action, neck relief, etc. Alright, well, better get cracking. So the preliminary strike here on the nut, I've got everything set to about 22 thousandths here at the first fret. So that's good, because now I'm going to do the neck relief, the string height, see where that sits, and then come back and check this. We'll probably have to lower it a bit more. I like to see about 20 thousandths for a guitar, and you can go to 18 if you want, but certainly on an initial setup I don't want to get it too low and then you can't go back up again, right? So Alright. Alright, so string height. Alright, let's see where the neck relief is with this guitar. So we'll start at 12 thousandths at the 7th fret. It's just touching. Let's see, 10 thousandths. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll leave it like that for the moment. Alright, so let's look at string height. Normally on a Tele or a Strat, I like to see 4/64 at the 17th fret. These are heavier gauge strings, so I'm not sure how that's going to handle it. So let's see where we are now. Yeah, so we're basically at 5/64, which I kind of like for this guitar. So I think we're going to leave it there. The owner can always drop it down a little bit, but I think playability wise it's super playable the way it is. So, and if you're a heavy strummer with heavier gauge strings too, that'll give you a little bit of relief. Still have to do some work on the nut, so that might drop the action a little bit, so I won't touch that at the moment. So I previously adjusted the nut action to be about 22 thousandths. You know, and playing the guitar a little bit, it's really feels stiff up here on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd frets, so I think we're going to drop that down to 20 thousandths, and that should be good. Yeah, actually, like that D string is still pretty high. Yeah, so let's file them down to 20 thousandths. So that, you have to clean the nut slot and tune up again before you check every time, right? Alright, so I've got the 20 thousandths feeler gauge under there, and when I play an open note, you can hear it starting to buzz, so that means it's touching it, so that's good. So I need to install the string tree here on the 1st and 2nd strings, but it's hard to show sometimes, but if you look at the break angle, you want the angle to be about the same everywhere. So if I take these two strings, 1st and 2nd, and I push down right around this 3rd tuner, you can see the angle starts to get more in line with the rest of the strings. And you'll see in a lot of Fenders you'll have a two string trees, right? Try and get the break angle the same as the 5th and 6th strings. So this one we're going to put one just here, sort of in between the 3rd and 4th tuners. Help with that break angle. Of course, that makes the tuning more stable and the note rings better when you have a little sharper break angle there through the nut. So this is just a nice little vintage style circular string tree. Of course, it won't come out of the package now. There we go. So very simple, just a screw and a little circle. Now the circle on the underside, there are 2 slots. Oh, sorry. I think you can see those. They run down the side. That's where your strings obviously go in. So I found the best way to, figure out where these go is to lay it on the string. With the slots obviously on the strings. There we go. And then you can move it around, right? So for this vintage style, seems that right about here, so just after 1, 2, 3, 3rd tuner, and if I push down, that's going to bring that break angle down. So somewhere around there should be fine. So my marking all happens to fit in that hole pretty nicely. So I'm just going to make a mark right about there. Take that 1/16 drill bit again. Again, slowly. I'll get that in place. Now I haven't slackened the strings yet because I want to just start the screw. That's where it should go. Okay, now I'm going to loosen these strings. I'll tighten it up. So the owner has these nice domed knobs here with a sort of a road-worn finish on them. They look really good, so I put those on. Alright, so one of the last things before doing the pickup height is just the intonation. And it was pretty good before when I checked it off camera. We'll do it again here quick. That's good. Again, intonation is always an approximation on any guitar, but especially on a Tele with these shared saddles. Pretty hard to get intonation to bang on, so that's nice. A little sharp on the G. The D needs to be tuned a bit. A little sharp. Let me try that G again. It's tuned a little sharp. Yeah, still a little sharp. A is good. Now, surprisingly, everything's pretty good. It's just the G and the D here, right? So the G and the D that are a little sharp. So I'll move this saddle back a little bit. So I'll have to loosen the strings off. Take a little tension off. That's much better. Again, with shared saddles, you can only sort of approximate intonation between the two strings, so not bad. Let's check the pickup height. So I'm pretty sure the pickup height is going to be too low, certainly on this neck pickup. So 1/8 of an inch I like to start at. Actually, that's pretty good. And then 3/32 on the treble side. Yeah, that has to come up. Let's try the bridge. That needs to come up. That needs to come up. So I'm going to do the bridge first because it's easier. So we're going to raise this up. Of course, with this style pickup configuration and pickguard, you have to remove the pickguard to actually get at the screws. So I'm just going to move them out of the way. And we want to raise the treble side up. Unfortunately, this is a trial and error game. So you got to move the pickguard back into position, check it. See where we ended up. Oh, that's good. I'm glad, actually. Alright. Alright, just going to put all the pickguard screws back in. Get my driver set on a low clutch setting, about halfway. Don't worry, not going to strip anything out. Just have to be careful. Oh, see? Clutch at work. Alright, so that's this Partscaster Telecaster all done. I think it looks really good. Sharp. Sounds good. Plays pretty well. Let the owner play around with it for a while. He can make adjustments or he can come back and see me. But pretty slick. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.